All right. Welcome to Jetstream Live today. Super excited to have our guest with us today. We've got Victor Dwyer. He's the founder at Dwyer Enterprises. And we're going to be talking about Amazon traffic and how to get Amazon results. Super excited to dig in on this topic. Victor, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for having me, Mike.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about Dwyer Enterprises and what you're doing over there.
Yeah, so basically we help guide external traffic, anything to help Amazon sellers just increase sales or e-commerce in general. And that happen a lot of ways through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. There's a lot of different ways to send traffic and really just get sales through for e-commerce sellers. And we basically help guide that traffic and really just send any type of external traffic to that listing or that e-commerce site, but usually we end up sending it to Amazon because a lot of people end up getting the ranking benefits off of Amazon. So you might get $50 more in extra margins by sending it to your e-commerce site, but you may get $500 more from the increased
Hmm.
ranking from ranking number 1 on Amazon. And that's what we help do is we help Amazon sellers rank number 1 for their products. So
Yeah,
yeah.
very very cool. I'm not super familiar with Amazon selling and Amazon, more versed in the e-commerce platforms like Shopify and WooCommerce and these sorts of tools. But really interesting. And maybe you could just talk about why. I mean, maybe this is a dumb question, but why is it important to rank on Amazon? Why does it matter to have a good converting store on Amazon?
Yeah, so during Q4, the Amazon cost of advertising actually doubled. Like literally within 2 or 3 days, we went from about a $1.20 cost per click to a $2.50, $2.70 for most clients. So that meant that if you were spending $100,000 on Amazon and getting $200,000 in sales, you went from spending 100,000 to getting $100,000 in sales because the cost literally doubled to advertise. So with all that in mind, the people said like, "Oh crap, we have to figure out another source of traffic besides just Amazon advertising." And that's where like you can like there's almost every other source of external traffic is cheaper than Amazon advertising. So that could be Facebook, like they could be Google, that could be like YouTube, that could be TikTok. All those sources of traffic are extremely cheap compared to Amazon advertising. So that way you can get a lot more sales from external traffic and Amazon ranks it into the top. So that way you can get your organic rank at the top. And if you don't know the difference between organic and sponsored you pay to get at the top. But for organic, you get there naturally and you can actually use specific external traffic methods to get organic rank number 1 every single time. So that way you can get those additional sales benefits. So yeah,
So
organic rank
so essentially what
at the
you're
top.
what you're saying is that in order to rank organically for Amazon, you can buy other sponsored traffic to drive actions on Amazon that then boost your organic ranking on Amazon. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Interesting, interesting. And so, what are some of the best platforms? You mentioned Google, Facebook, others. What are some of the best platforms to do that? And about how much do you have to spend to make it worthwhile?
So I would say it depends if you have a search intent based product or a convenience based product. So if you have a very search intent based product like a bed sheet, like something that like if someone like needs a bed sheet right away, they need it right away. So that's a search intent based product. I would recommend Google for that type of
Okay.
product. But then if it's a convenience based product, I would recommend probably Facebook and Instagram. So something that people scroll through the feed, oh, that's cool, and then they want to buy it type of thing. And then for a trendy based product, I would recommend TikTok, using TikTok
Mhm.
influencers and getting TikTok ads because TikTok ads are really cheap and they work really well. So I would recommend that to basically people go through that method. And those are the basic ways I look at using different platforms. And I base it off the product itself, and then I adapt it based off the channel and making sure that it's relevant. And then that's how I basically choose what traffic source works the best for it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's the exact same thing we would do with a Shopify site. Is like, I
Yeah.
usually look at the product and like, is this something that people search for that carries intent, or is this something that people need to find out about and have awareness, or if if it is trendy or interesting, then we look at the traffic sources in that way. So it really just kind of depends, but it sounds very similar to what we would be doing as well. Do you optimize Amazon stores? Like, do you go in there and help them set your clients store up to better convert, like basically do like a conversion rate optimization of their Amazon store?
So on the Amazon storefront, there's actually very little traffic that people actually go to the actual Amazon storefront of the brand itself.
Right.
But on the detail page, yes, where we'll actually create like the infographics, because really, like you can optimize the entire page, but there's not as much as you can do a conversion rate wise to optimize that. You can't do like different plugins. You can't do a pop up plugin
Right,
or any of these fancy
right.
things. But the two important factors on a detail page is the title, the main or the title and the infographics. Because if you look on a mobile device on Amazon, most people just use their thumbs and just literally swipe through the images, and then that's it.
Right.
So that's a huge factor. So if you don't have infographics, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. So your infographics, you should have like infographics that explain what your product does, why it's different, why it's all these different things to communicate that to the customer, because you can do that through the bullet points, you can do that through all the other descriptions and everything, but most people won't even read it. You have to do that through the infographics and create specialized infographics for Amazon to get the most sales possible there.
Yeah, I think of my own experiences. That's exactly what I do, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
what does this product actually look like? I was just looking at, I was actually looking at tire chains on Amazon because I want to buy some for my car so I can drive up the mountain and go skiing. Uh, but I did exactly that. I'm like, okay, what does this product look like? And then there's a video. I'm like, I'm not playing the video, right? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
why. I just didn't play the video. And so my own experience is like, I scroll through the images, kind of look at the description. I'm like, yeah, that's their words. And I go straight to the bottom and I look at the reviews, right? And I'm like, what are the people that like this really didn't work for saying? What is the like 1-star review? And I am looking for at least hundreds of reviews, and that they're in the 4 or 5 range. I don't think I'm different from many shoppers
Yeah.
in that way. But those reviews carry so much weight for me in
Mhm.
convincing me whether I should buy this product or not.
Yeah, and reviews are always really, really important. And within these different strategies, by getting more traffic, so it's really important to know that you can't just like put a product on Amazon and make millions of dollars. It doesn't work like that anymore. It used to that you just
Really?
really throw up a product and you would just get hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales right away, and because of how much traffic there was. But it's not like that anymore. That like people like expect to throw up these products and get sales, and you'll get zero sales now because it's
Yeah.
so competitive that you have to have a launch strategy that you have to actually launch a product, and then you have to send external traffic to it to even get near page one, and then you have to have a certain like advertising strategy to make it you have enough sales velocity to get on the first page just in general, and then kind of push sales there, because it's even difficult now to launch a product launch a product, and if you try to spend advertising dollars behind that product on Amazon, sometimes they won't even let you spend money because they say, we don't know. Like basically, Amazon's algorithm says, we don't know how well this product will perform. So we're just not going to let you spend money on it because
Wow.
it's that competitive. And we have certain clients that just can't spend money, and you could raise the bids to like $20, and they still won't let you spend money, like because if in that it's that competitive now.
Yeah.
And if you're in the supplement category, I recommend just don't go on Amazon. Like it's so competitive that all the competitors, they will outbid you by 3 times. They will literally take a hit. Like, how do I say this? They will, if it's a $10 product, they will literally spend $30 to for someone to buy that $10 product. It's
Right.
that competitive. And if they go for like lifetime value and everything else to those metrics,
Yeah.
but it's there's categories that are so competitive, and having external traffic to go around that on the Amazon advertising side really helps out, and Amazon will reward you by increasing your rank and things like that.
Interesting. So, I mean, you're not like, you're kind of artificially driving traffic to. It's not artificial. That's not the right way of saying it. Basically, it's not naturally happening on the Amazon platform. So you're saying like, hey, we'll go elsewhere and get this traffic, and get it to rank. What are some of the things, like you mentioned some things about the Amazon algorithm and some of the challenges? Can you just talk about some of the challenges of being on Amazon, and some of the, like, pitfalls maybe to avoid when you're trying to drive up your results and rankings on Amazon?
Yes. So on Amazon, what if you're an Amazon seller, there's just things that we call like I don't know how to say it. It's like a culture. It's like a culture thing. Like, oh, that's just Amazon. Like, literally,
Yeah.
Amazon will screw you in every single way imaginable. Like that. That's really like the best way to say it. Like, sometimes they'll just randomly suspend you for absolutely no reason. That the whole pesticide issue, like that was horrible. There was a pesticide crisis that every like these $1 million like multi like $100 million sellers, like all their products would be marked as pesticides, and like under like legal law they're not allowed to sell unless they're approved for pesticides, and then they would lose hundreds of millions of dollars
Whoa.
because everyone was getting marked as pesticides, and it was horrible. And you have to go through like a 3-week process to get approval to be marked, and everyone was contacting support saying we're not pesticides, we're a beauty brand. Like no one was
Wow.
selling pesticides, and everyone was being marked as pesticides. So it was really, really bad, and that happened for a lot of people, and it still happens. Like it's still regular. So now everyone has to basically get approved for pesticides so that way it doesn't happen. But there's a million scenarios like that. And if you put your inventory in Amazon's warehouse, they'll suspend your inventory and they'll make it where you can't do anything with it, unfortunately, because they house it and they keep it. So with all that in mind, that like they just really do screw you, yes, but if there wasn't so much money to be made,
Right.
then it wouldn't be worth it. But since there's so much to be made that everyone still uses them and everything else, but it's still a horrible. It really is a horrible process, and it's honestly the reason why I'm still in business, because if Amazon was easy, I would not have a job.
Right.
But it's still really difficult, and there's still a million issues that come up, and then especially don't even get me started with variations and everything else. But like there's still a lot of things that go wrong every single day within Amazon that are unique to that seller. But that's just how it is on Amazon. It just really is. So yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of, like, when I hear people advertising on Google or Facebook for the first time, and they start complaining about the platform. It's like, I can't do this and I can't do that, and this is how it works, and Google suspended me or Facebook doesn't like this. And I'm like, yeah, but it's the best platform to do this on, right? Like, and it's the same reason why, we exist, right, as a company, is because we help people with these things that are challenging. And I find a lot with advertising is you're marrying like the creative ideas and messages and images and videos with this like technical thing that it doesn't quite fit in, right? You're trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole,
Mhm.
and you've got to figure out how you can shave the edges on that square, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why we exist. But these platforms can be extremely frustrating,
Mhm.
and they can't be difficult. But like you said, there's so much money to be made when you figure it out, or when you crack the code.
Mhm.
Which brings me to kind of interesting question. Just kind of curious how you got into this, or what other things did you do prior to this, and I feel a sense of like there's some real passion behind this. Like you really enjoy this challenge and this problem and solving it for your clients.
Yeah. I started out as a web developer, actually. And I started out as a web developer, and then I got into SEO, kind of like guiding traffic. And then I started getting into advertising, how to advertise that traffic to get to the website. And once I started Facebook advertising, I had a buddy that said, "Hey, there's this thing like where you can send Facebook. I need a good Facebook advertiser to send it to Amazon, so that way I can get like more traffic." And that's when I started like, kind of getting introduced into Amazon. And like basically the first time I did this Facebook campaign for him, he's like, "Dude, the client just made a ton of money. Like I need you to do this for everyone." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then I started like doing all these Facebook campaigns to Amazon. And then these clients said, "Hey, I need help with Amazon. Amazon's killing me." I'm like, "Okay, I'll try learning it." And so I constantly went through all of this tedious processes, and like all of a sudden Amazon would shut them down and get suspended and everything else. And I'm like, "Okay, I'll learn how to get unsuspended." And like then I started really getting into all the weeds with Amazon and how to get everything fixed, get fixed variations and things like that. And people thought it was really valuable. So I just kept going in the Amazon game, and kind of kept like learning it and just went from there. And now I do external traffic to Amazon, and I help Amazon just in general on full account management. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into all of it. And it's fun. It changes every 48 hours, but it's awesome.
that's
So, yeah.
that's about right. That's digital marketing, right? It's like every
Yeah,
48 hours or so, expect some major disruption to happen, or that thing that you were doing that worked really well to not exist anymore.
true.
Uh,
Yes,
right.
it just
So
comes with a lot of testing. Like, yeah, I am actually like religious about testing. It's like actually insane. Like testing like different landing pages, testing different creatives, copy, and everything else. Like I'm always it's changing so fast that and you have to be testing. It's the number one thing. Yeah.
absolutely. So does your team? You mentioned copy. Does your team write the copy? Is there any process you go through to arrive at like the best possible copy on an Amazon page?
So we start out with a certain level of copy, and then we'll use AI software to kind of make that a whole level better. We usually used to use uh I forgot what the company was. They got bought by Unbounce, and like I forgot they got bought by
Oh,
Unbounce, and then now I use Unbounce to basically
yeah.
do the AI copy and do that level. And now we have like optimized headlines after that, so it'll like rephrase it into like a more, I guess, understandable way is kind of how you say it. And then after that, then we have copy to work off of, and we usually use that and how we optimize our copy from there. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Unbounce as well. They're a Vancouver-based company. I'm in Victoria, so
Yeah.
we're on an island, so we're pretty close to them. But I've been a big fan of Unbounce
Yeah.
for years.
And like
Uh,
having landing page like optimization is like necessary now. Like
yes.
everyone should be using like like optimized landing pages. And if you don't know what Unbounce is, it's basically you'll create three different variants of a landing page, and it will optimize your landing page based off what the traffic it was. So as we all know, there's a difference between a Google user and a Facebook user. And what it will do, it'll start optimizing. It'll see where the source they came from and optimize toward whatever landing page will work best and convert best for them. So a Google user might that variant might be the best, like version A might convert them better, but for Facebook user version B might convert them better, and it will actually learn which one converts better, and it will actually optimize that and have a whole other level of optimization on your Facebook ads and everything else for your landing pages, which is really important. So it's cool.
Yeah. And as a non-coder, non-designer, I can actually build some half decent landing pages.
Yeah.
And then when I do get designers or developers to help with it, they're usually kind of frustrated with the system because it has some limitations that are there, for the purposes of optimization. But I can't test like I can with Unbounce, right? Like, the
Mhm.
ability to just put up another landing page and test it, give it 10% and track the conversions and stuff. It's a really, really great tool. So
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love it. And like that's also it's really important to send traffic when you send traffic to Amazon, having it's actually fascinating. So we did A/B test, and you could send the traffic directly to the Amazon listing, or you could actually add a step by putting an intermittent landing page before actually sending them to Amazon. So you're literally adding a step. And having that intermittent landing page will convert on average more than 3 times more
Yeah.
by having that intermittent landing page when you send them the traffic to Amazon, which is fascinating because you're adding a step, but that it actually tends to improve conversion rate by a lot by adding that landing page in there.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive, right? To put something like
Yeah.
in the way.
Yeah.
But the way I've always looked at it is, I've come from the affiliate space, and so we always focused on like creating angles. So you'd find something that's like, unique to the product, but
Mhm.
isn't necessarily the specific solution it was created for. And so that intermittent landing page bridges the gap between the angle, the keyword, and where they're going to end up. So that if you just drop them where they're going to end up, they're like, wait, why am I here? This doesn't speak anything to the problem or the issue or the product I'm looking for.
Mhm. Yeah.
But that landing page does so much to convert them or to help them see how this product can help them with their problem, whatever they're looking to purchase. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I'm totally with you on that. And it's funny, right? Like I always think about writing like short copy and like, let's just get them to the page. But sometimes the long copy works amazing as well. And sometimes even putting some other barriers in the way, making it a little bit more difficult for them to get there. Right. I read somewhere that, when like IKEA, right?
Mhm.
Like when you build an IKEA product, you cherish it that much more because it was like difficult to build.
Mhm.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe some people feel differently about that. They hate the product, but there's something about that like sense of accomplishment of like, I did that and I created it. So I wouldn't always say to like add more friction or add more steps in the process, but you got to test stuff because sometimes that works or it helps convert a lot better. Um, in terms of like uh, taking a company that's never done Amazon? Like, do you ever work with that where they've set up a store, maybe it's Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, whatever, and they're selling, and then they're thinking about moving to Amazon? Is that something that you go through and or take clients through?
Yeah, all the time. And like basically the process we do to basically set up a person that's only been on Shopify. First thing we do is we set up the UPC codes because usually Shopify people don't have UPC codes yet, and so you need a UPC code to get on Amazon.
Hmm.
And we set up the UPC codes, and then we have them sign up for the Amazon seller account. We go through that process, and then they become brand registered, and then we can list their products up on Amazon and eventually start like selling. We link it to their inventory situation. And after that, we're able to start selling on Amazon. And then we start the rank strategies from there to get all their products actually listed. And it's every company should at least be on Amazon because
Hmm.
especially if you're spending a lot of money on Facebook ads and everything else, I can guarantee that a lot of that traffic, people are going from that Facebook ad and then going to
Yeah.
Amazon to look if it's there because it's more convenient. We have a client that spends about $400,000 a month on Facebook ads, and it is a direct correlation with our Amazon sales. So
Right.
even though the Facebook ads are going to their e-commerce site, that we still get about $50,000 worth of sales per month from those Facebook ads on Amazon. So that they would have literally missed if they were not on Amazon at all. They would have lost $50,000 worth of sales just from the natural the natural traffic from the Facebook ads, even though there's really no direct correlation that the people that left that Facebook ad and went to go buy on Amazon is significant. So if you're not on Amazon, you're missing out on a huge opportunity just on that alone. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's if you think about your own experience, right? To think of my own, like if I see something on Facebook that interests me, I'm like, hey, what is this product? Likely I'm going to go to Google and search it, maybe, which drives up search traffic. So sometimes you'll see, like, if you have a Facebook campaign running, suddenly your Google ads start doing amazing, right? And
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, the Google ads are amazing. Let's turn off that Facebook garbage. You turn off
Yeah.
Facebook and you're like, oh, what happened to my Google ads? But I think that there's a big gap there too. If you're not on Amazon, right, where someone sees a product on Facebook and they're
Mhm.
like, maybe they click through, they check it out, and they're like, oh, $30. I don't know if I want to pay that. Let's see if it's cheaper on Amazon. And they go to Amazon and it's not there. Then you
Yeah.
may have lost that sale altogether,
True.
right? So
Yeah.
I think you're right. You probably need to be in all three places in some capacity. Of course, that gets pretty expensive, but I think it can be really worthwhile if you're looking to grow your brand and grow from there. So there's the one big challenge with that, of course, is attribution. So is there anything that you do to manage attribution between Facebook ads, Google ads, Amazon sales,
Mhm.
that sort of stuff? Because it can be a bit of a black box, or just like lots of data between the three platforms.
So luckily, Amazon's made it really convenient for Amazon attribution, and they now reward you for it. So on Amazon, that they normally take a 15% referral fee from all your sales, essentially. But if you use Amazon attribution, which is an attribution tool, you actually get a brand referral fee for sending that traffic to Amazon and for them purchasing your product, and it's 10%. So meaning that Amazon only takes a 5% referral fee on the traffic you send to Amazon, which is
Hmm.
really, really good. So the fact that you can send that traffic to Amazon, get the ranking benefit, and on top of that, they only take a 5% referral fee from that, and you get all the benefits, and the customer gets all the convenience of not having to enter credit card info, fast shipping, and everything else. They trust Amazon and things like that. So it makes it very convenient for them, and it makes it where you can get a lot more sales that way too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's, just thinking again of my own experience, right? Like, part of the reason I'm going there is Amazon Prime, right? To know that, hey, I can get this in a few days, and I trust it, right? Like, so
Yeah.
I ended up with the tire chains. I couldn't find any on Amazon; they were all sold out, and
Mhm.
so I found this random site, CanadianTireChains.com or something like that,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh man, like, I don't know these guys from anything. Right? Do I really want to give them my credit card information? But I did do it, but I was very reluctant to do it. Versus on Amazon, I know that it's somewhat trustworthy, and that if something goes wrong, that I have, I can work with Amazon to solve that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, I bought a pool table on Amazon,
Wow.
and they shipped it to the wrong place,
Oh no.
and it was the last one in stock. And so
Wow.
basically, someone got a free Amazon or free pool table, right? Because I think once they deliver it, at least in Canada, once they deliver it, it's their property. They can't get it back.
Wow.
I believe that's how it works. Anyway, so I ended up canceling the order, and I ended up buying it on Wayfair. But I knew that at least with Amazon, I just wasn't going to be out thousands of dollars versus just a random site. I don't know
True.
what their policies are and how that all works, and if they care if I don't come back or not. Amazon definitely does. So there
Yeah.
certainly are benefits as a shopper.
True, true, and that's why a lot of people trust it. And like this is where unbounce comes into this whole scenario. You can actually A/B test sending that traffic to Amazon and sending that traffic to your e-commerce site and
Mm,
testing how many more
cool.
sales you get
Yeah.
out of it. Because you might, like, for example, some people want to keep the e-commerce customer and might be able to keep that, but you might get 5 times the amount of sales by sending that traffic to Amazon because their customer, like all their information is already there. Their credit card's already there. All they have to do is press the buy button and then
Yeah.
swipe, and then that's literally all they have to do. And so you should definitely A/B test setting that traffic to your e-commerce site and A/B test setting it to your Amazon site, because the Amazon might have a lot higher conversion rate of the amount of people that end up purchasing, which is give you a higher return on your investment, which will help you out in the long term. So it's definitely something to test.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, right? And I guess that's the benefit of having that landing page, is you could send it to,
Mhm.
like, the domain that is your site,
Mhm.
as like a jump page to your Shopify store or whatever your store is,
Yeah.
or directly to Amazon, and see which one works better. And there's bound to be a difference. Probably depends a lot on the persona you're targeting, the
Mhm.
customers you're after, which ones typically prefer buying on the site versus buying on Amazon. So that's a really interesting and valuable point you made.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of curious, like, there's been an interesting 2 years. E-commerce obviously has had this huge uptick in sales, and it was already, on a pretty good trajectory. What do you envision for the future of Amazon e-commerce, and this sort of thing, and maybe, for your business as well?
Yeah, like e-commerce definitely blew up around 2020. And what we realized, for every Amazon seller at least, during when COVID happened is that we can't rely on Amazon for anything. Because a lot of, if you're not an Amazon seller, you really wouldn't know this actually, that during the like during COVID happened, Amazon, like basically everyone shopped on Amazon essentially. And Amazon basically said, "Hey, there's no more inventory. You cannot send any inventory in," because they were like completely backed up from everything that
Right.
was going on during COVID. So we literally, no one could send an inventory and everybody was screwed. So if you did not have a 3PL, meaning a third party warehouse, you were done. Like you literally
Wow.
did not capitalize on anything during COVID. So um basically we everyone essentially used a backup. Now if you're a smart Amazon seller, you have a backup 3PL, where you have a 3PL warehouse where you can basically have another other inventory where you can ship that out and
Right.
not rely on FBA centers. Because if you use Amazon's warehouse, you get that Prime badge, which you get a 50% increase in sales, which is good, yes, but you also want to have a backup strategy behind that, so
Mm.
that way you have another warehouse just in case Amazon doesn't go through that, because Amazon has really strict inventory restraints that you have to get a lot of sales in order to increase those inventory restraints. That you might be like, I have some clients that are only allowed to send in 50 units. And if you only send in 50 units, it's not even profitable, because
Right.
like you
Right.
have to do like this amount and then you have to ship in, and it's like it's not profitable. So they have to use a 3PL just to do it on Amazon. So it's really important to like keep that in mind. But with the future of e-commerce and things like that, I definitely see Amazon as a big player. I see Walmart as a potentially
Mm.
becoming a big player within all this. Um, I know Target's making some headway on this as well, and all those are kind of big players in the space. I'm having more and more clients that are wanting to spend money on Walmart, which is fascinating. Um, I haven't seen too much traffic on Walmart yet, like too many sales at least. But Amazon seems like the biggest place to get the most sales volume, but it's just getting so expensive,
Right.
advertising wise, to be on it. But yeah, for the most part, that is kind of what happened during COVID on Amazon and everything else. So yeah.
Yeah, so Walmart's an interesting one. So is Walmart looking to become more like Amazon? Because I've always heard with Walmart, like getting your product in Amazon, or sorry, in Walmart is a blessing and a curse. It's like, okay, we're going to sell all these units, but then we're like, we have to meet Walmart's demands, and they could be very demanding. We have to have so much stock. Um, but Amazon seems like a better place to kind of scale up. Like we can get so many units ready, and then we can scale up, versus Walmart's like, we need so many now. Is that, I don't know if you have information on that, but is Walmart going head to head with Amazon here?
So yes, Walmart's trying to
Cool.
be more and more like Amazon for sure.
Sure.
And they try to buy jet.com to get like understand, like try to get e-commerce and like understand e-commerce more. And like with all that happening, Walmart is horrible at content changes. Like if
Mm.
you, for example, let's say you accidentally misspelled a title, okay? You forgot the E, okay, at the end of whatever word it was,
Yeah.
okay? To change and put that E back is like a 3-week process. It's
Oh,
that bad. Like you can't just simply like just change a title. You can't just change a variation. You can't just change an image. Like it's not like that. It is
here.
actually awful. So if you misspell, you like verify everything on your listing first and submit it to Walmart and never change it again, because it will be an entire process to change it. So if changing things on Walmart is horrible, but besides that, everything's pretty easy. Advertising is pretty easy. Everything else is pretty easy on Walmart, but it's just the content changes is really bad. On Amazon, they're getting more and more restrictive on content changes. They're now called suggestions, meaning that if you try to change your own listing of your own product that you own, they'll say, we'll take that into suggestion on the listing. And that's
We'll
literally what
consider it.
they do. So, like, it's now everything, like, even though it's your product, everything is yours. They still say, yeah, thanks for the suggestion. We'll see if we want to keep it or not. It's
Wow.
like, it's that crazy. Like, they're that powerful. They can do that. But it's just, that's how it is. There's really nothing we can do about it.
Yeah,
So yeah.
kind of reminds me of like when Google obviously took a stronghold in search, and Microsoft really didn't clue into that, right? And they created Bing, right? And there were so many challenges to like make it work on Bing that people just use Google. And so Walmart seems like it's too big and powerful sometimes for its own good, because these like, as an advertiser or a seller, it's like, I want to change the name. My name is spelled incorrectly, right? These seem like pretty straightforward things. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Um, Victor, I'm kind of curious if you have like, one or three sort of points that you would absolutely recommend that anyone that's considering Amazon and considering improving their rankings on Amazon, that you could leave the listeners with.
Yeah. So when it comes to points to kind of get on Amazon, so that there's definitely value to being on Amazon. I know I talked about a lot of the bad stuff because I'm always in the weeds. So I'm
Sure.
like clients only come to me when bad stuff happens. So my whole life is bad stuff on Amazon
Yeah.
and like scary situations. But like there is still a lot of benefit. Like I have clients that make like millions and millions and millions of dollars on Amazon. So there's definitely a huge benefit to being on it. It's very actually pretty easy to get on
Hmm.
Amazon. It is it's a tedious process, but you should at least be on Amazon. Every e-commerce seller should be on Amazon. Like that's 100%. And if you're trying to scale it up, that's a whole other scenario. But you should at least be on Amazon to kind of get that process started. And with actually trying, if you are on Amazon and you're trying to actually scale it up, because there's a lot of e-commerce sellers that just start like they basically said, "Oh yeah, we launched it and like we're on Amazon, but we're not doing anything with it." If you're that type of seller, then I would recommend starting to get an Amazon advertising either person or someone to help manage it, so that way you can at least get some sales there, because getting that process started is going to kind of start a seed to kind of start growing more sales and get that more sales velocity behind that, because there's usually a lot of opportunity because of the how much people are searching on Amazon,
Right.
that it's a lot better. And now that CPCs have dropped back from from Q4, that there's a lot more opportunity. You can be a lot more profitable on your advertising on Amazon at least. So that way that'll help your efforts to kind of get more sales there. But that's basically if you're starting, that's if you're kind of there. And if you are really focused on Amazon, then you can definitely do ranking strategies that I'm talking about using uh, Facebook, using Google, using all these different things to kind of help scale that up even more.
Hmm.
That's gonna be for because that's all the three stages kind of there. There's the beginning people that are trying to start on Amazon. There's the people that are on Amazon that haven't really started, and there's the people that are trying to scale on Amazon.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where the external traffic comes in to really help scale that out and get more sales there. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Great stuff. Well, I really appreciate you coming on today and talking about this. I know I've learned a ton, so I appreciate that. I'm sure the listeners will have learned a ton as well. Where can people connect with you or find you on the socials, or check out your website?
So I focus a lot on LinkedIn. That's probably my main traffic source. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. Victor Dwyer, Dwyer. Most people don't spell it right, so if you get it wrong, that's completely okay. And then you can just search up victordwyer.com. Got a bunch of different content there. I'm all about content, so anything about producing more content, I'm happy for it. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, just scrolling your feed, there's a lot of really great tips and videos in there. So definitely go and check that out if you want to learn more, and reach out to Victor as well. So thanks again so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Mike. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Ooh.